Hey y'all, it's Patrick Brooks here from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. Today we've got an interview with John Gist, man. I'm super happy to have John back on the show again. We're going to talk about Planet Desert Rock 5. We're going to talk about Friday Night's Ripple Night. We're going to talk about some bands like Godzillionaire and Sergeant Thunderhoof. We're also going to do a little discussion about the Doom charts, man. We had our Doom charts picks come out, and the Doom charts were released today, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Spotify a little bit and just discuss our views on that. So, hey, without further ado, let's get to John Gist. Yeah. Here. Hey, you guys. This is S. Patrick Brooks with the Heavy Underground Farm Report. I'm pretty sure we're live. My little thing is indicating that I'm live streaming, and I'm waiting for a confirmation email, but from upstairs. But I got John Gist with me today, man. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm super excited about Planet Desert Rock Weekend, and I know John is too. We talked a couple of months ago, John, about the bands. I think the last band that we talked about was Bonehawk had just been announced. And we had a great conversation about Bonehawk. So a lot of stuff has happened since then, man. I'm super excited about Duel and the Watchers. So, hey, bud, why don't you just jump in and, tell me, let's just go. Tell me about what you...
Can't do that to me.
All right, dude, how about
I'll do this.
I'll
do this, Mr. Brooks. I like calling you Mr. Brooks.
Nobody calls me that.
The Sunday show.
Yeah.
The Sunday show, it is really turning out interesting. I've had so many bands hit me up. I feel so bad for a lot of the band. Like, I feel bad when I have to tell them no. Now, I feel like I'm wasting my time also, because there's some bands hit me up, dude, they have no respect at all for our scene. And they come from like this other genres of music. I think we could play your festival. And I listen to them, I'm like, where the fuck did they come up with the idea that they should be playing my festival? Did you even bother to listen to any of the bands, right?
Right.
If someone doesn't do that, that's disrespectful. It's like, it's not even strike one, it's probably strike three for me, because it's just so dismissive. It almost feels overly aggressive, which I like aggressive, but
time is your most precious commodity. You don't have time to be wasted on that stuff. Yeah. I get that. I do see the disrespect there. Sure.
I just don't think they should look up this stuff first, right?
Right.
I'm not. Yeah. Anyways. It's been such an adventure with this lineup. I did start off with Bonehawk. That was the first band I booked. I wanted them already, and it was I love them. Can't wait to see them for the first time.
Dude, they're good.
But, headlining, as you mentioned, was Duel, which I've had at Vegas Rock Revolution shows before. I know Tom, within minutes of meeting him, we were smoking weed, so you'll love that. I'll never forget that.
I've met Tom, but we have not smoked weed yet.
Literally within minutes.
He's awesome.
He was at this thing we do called the Spider Lounge in Austin, where it was like 4 different stages, like the heavy jam, Austin heavy jam or some shit. And I walk up and go, hey, where's Tom at? I wanted to meet him. And I go over there, and within a minute, he handed me one of those little hitters like that. Really like a front loading. So, and it's real big. You got packed a bunch of weed in there, boom, and then you light it up. I kind of don't like those type that much. It reminds me it looks like what I've at least seen on TV is a crack pipe or something like that, but it's a bowl, right? And next thing you know, I'm high as a kite, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, drinking draft beer with Tom and other people. And I just love Duel's energy. I think that they've captured a certain, I won't say sound, because this album really is heavy.
It's sweet. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I love it.
Yeah, and you can tell Jeff is getting his Guitar Hero on a little more. That's the difference. He's a phenomenal producer, record. It does a lot of stuff with a lot of things in the industry down there in Austin. I even ran him to randomly in Tulsa once, of all things.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I just love that band. I've seen them. They bring it. And I'm like, this is a band we have to have on there. And Luna Soul, Dave Angstrom and I have known each other since Planet Desert Rock 1 when we did the night with John Garcia.
Awesome.
And we just kind of hit it off immediately and kept in touch over the years and been supportive when I can. And it just kind of came up in conversation between me and him. And it had a short list already written down, and they were on it, but there was a few others. It was just this whole process you got to go through. And but just having Dave and the guys around, they were going to be around much of the weekend anyways. But to capture Sunday night, I am going to have them play last.
Yeah, but they're God damn, that album
I'm going to play last because they're going to do extended stuff, we'll say. So I believe there's going to be at least a couple, at least one, if not two musicians are going to get up and play or jam or do something with them. So I think that's cool. I have an idea. One of them, I wouldn't want to say it now, but it's just going to be a cool final landing that evening. Fired up to have Iota, which this album has blown me away and blown many of us away. Still probably the least known band on the whole bill.
Yeah.
Because they only have the one album out in 18 years. They won 18 years ago also.
I think they're, after the show,
like
we'll be
200
talking about it
people
a lot. I think people will be talking about it. The album is spectacular. The new album is just like super impressive. And there's no way that you can, there's been so many good releases this year. So I feel bad like Iota, but I think after we see them live, there's people there that'll be talking, and I think they're gonna get their due.
Well, I think that's, I hope, part of what Planet Desert Rock helps with.
Oh yeah.
When people come to Planet Desert Rock, they're not coming all the time. They're not coming just for one band, and I think I think Ripple Fest isn't far off of that too. We're kind of similar in that, and we're both scared shitless of bringing in some massive band because the numbers are just, it doesn't really work anymore. Desert Fest may take the chance in New York, but other than that, it's scary. And so
from a fan standpoint on that really quick, I'd prefer if you guys kept it the way you kept it anyway. I would much rather go to a show with 500, 600, 700 people than 3,000 people and really lose that intimacy of the show.
Yeah.
So, so it's just from my personal opinion,
Yeah.
you guys do it just perfect. So I like what you're doing. I think the bands you're bringing are great.
Part of the artistic, this is me, my only art I'm good at, artistic vision of this is I want to get the best bands, many of them that people don't know enough about, much about. And I just felt Iota was one that I had them on the list, but I hadn't contacted them. And then they reached out to me, and I was like, God, it's weird. I just listened to your album. All right, this is fate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I just think it's going to be great. They're going to play the album from front to back. I'm going to make sure to talk to lighting. I'm not always able to do this, but I try. Is I like to work in the production side of it a little bit with maybe some direction. What I mean is the lighting. I have a big bone to pick with how so many people are trying to produce rock concerts when it comes to lighting. And to too bright lights all the time. When there's certain kinds of music, it should be a darker setting. Like I saw Sabbath last night.
Yeah.
Hell, I even saw Iron Maidens, and I'm not sure, or even so I'm just not sure why they didn't have a darker tone to it, where you can still get the light shining, but everything wide open, bright. It's really not a mental, for me, I think a lot of people, they like the atmosphere. They get the feel in the moment of music. And so if the lights are a little lower and it's more mysterious and more airy, and maybe you're paying attention more to the hearing aspect of music, along with the feeling, but not the seeing.
Yeah.
That helps the other senses. And it's going to be important that, I meet together with the light. I don't even know the lighting person at Vamped yet. I used to know the last three of them. So at some point in time, I got to ask for maybe a little meeting or phone call and just kind of go, here's my vision. Are you down with it, or do I need to hire someone?
So, John, along those lines, so we were both at Ripple Fest, and like there were some interesting light effects going on. How do you
Oh
feel
yeah, they
about
do it.
that? How do you feel about that? Like where Beelzebub played, and they have that like 3D light show right on the
That's the
band.
liquid. That's the
Yeah,
liquid light thing by
yeah.
Matt Alchemy.
What's your opinion of that?
I like it. I like it. I've been to shows and I kind of dig it, but that I'm a I one that can kind of, if I'm really into the music, just get in the moment with it. And I smoke some weed, so that relaxes me and gives me an ability to potentially focus in on this cool tapestry of stuff happening around you. But I know others that are annoyed as fuck at it.
I live with somebody who's annoyed as fuck with it, and I like it. So
Yeah.
that's
So,
one of
you
our
know me?
conversations. She's like, it takes away from, like kind of what you talked about with the darkness and the atmospheric
Yeah.
thing. So I see both sides of that. Maybe
Yeah.
I like it as well, but
I like
it'd be
it.
interesting to see what bands do with it. Maybe you don't need to like. I think with Beelzebub doing it, yeah, do it the whole show. You guys like that just fits those guys.
Yeah.
But maybe other bands you do it for a couple songs or something.
Yeah. It's an interesting matchup when you're doing a whole fest like that, because I've seen individual shows with Matt Alchemy doing lights. Like I saw Dead Meadow once in a small venue, and I listened. I knew I was going to go see Dead Meadow. I knew the guy that ran a bunkhouse, and so he had me on the list. So that's not a risk of buying a ticket and not liking them. I listened to some other stuff, and I was like, it's all right. It's not really exciting to me, and there's not that much catchiness to it, but there's a couple.
Yeah.
And so, but when I saw him live, and Bunkhouse was a small place that really kept excellent sound. They had an excellent system in there. It later got burnt down or burnt partly down during COVID by some homeless people who started cooking and stuff in there, and they drank all the booze. They just took the place over, but eventually they lit it on fire, mistake. So there's no more Bunkhouse. But it's literally one block from the usual place, which is Saturday night's show.
Yeah,
and he does some lighting stuff, and he can do something with the computer where we can get their logo or something as a backdrop as well
cool.
There. I haven't talked to Counts Vamp about that aspect of it, but there's production stuff still to be. I still haven't done really the. I'll give you a little insight to running the shit sometimes. I have to actually write out the set list. I've got to go over that, write a preliminary one.
Okay.
And just kind of time it out. And then I got to bring it back to the band. I mean, I really don't ask permission, quite frankly, with the band. That gets a little too much, but I get input sometimes early on. And so maybe to customize around it some. Because, I mean, they're my brothers in arms in this.
Well, I was going to say, I would think they probably appreciate that you want to make the show as good as you possibly can.
Yeah. I'm not their overlord on this. Just the guy that's running the show. Like Saturday, like I already have my Saturday night. What I'm going to begin and end with already, because it's going to be a later show, as you know. Saturday night has 6 bands. So go backwards for a moment. But Sunday, I kick off the show with Jason Walker.
And I'm excited for this.
Jason Walker's Bad Motorfinger. So.
I love that. Like that Soundgarden album is super important to me in my musical taste. It's like dear to my heart. Absolutely. I know for a lot of us, and I don't think that's cliched. I think that that album is heavy as fuck.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it. That should be cool.
For me, it's my album, and I know I'm not alone. Yeah. A lot of people like the next album because they really refine themselves and. They still weren't like sounding radio or anything, but maybe a song or two that. But I hate Black Old Sun, so I never want to hear it again. I don't know why. I just fucking hate that song.
I guess
Video bothered me. I remember I was on mushrooms. I saw it, and I've never gotten past that. So Blackle, yeah. So Jason is an amazing musician. He has a love as well for Soundgarden, Chris Cornell. And I've heard him play Cornell songs.
And I'm excited.
Particularly Soundgarden. I'd already heard him play because he's in a band here called the Majestic 12 that does different covers, and he does this amazing blend where it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's in no way the set list is anything like what anyone else does, kind of thing. And I like that. He does like the second or third most popular song from an album instead. Yeah, and things like boom, he chooses some Led Zeppelin song, but it's not the usual. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's a deep cut,
Soundgarden song. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, like John, I mean, face it, anybody who's been to your show, like, we definitely trust you. The bands that you're bringing are amazing. Like,
Well,
you talked earlier about how you want to bring in bands that you can like boost their exposure in a way. I think
more notoriety.
I thought Black Elephant was a great example of that. And I think I talked to a lot of people at that show, and they weren't really sure who Black Elephant was, and I was a Black Elephant fan, and it's one of the reasons I went to your show.
Right.
But like their album got released a couple months ago, and it was a huge hit. I find it. You know what, man? I know you're not going to want to take any credit, but like, I mean, you should them being here in the United States and playing in front of that audience, that helped them sell more albums and gain exposure. And so that's got to be pretty satisfying for you, I would think.
Think about it just a little. I look at I very weird visual on this whole thing. Like bands that play Vegas Rock Revolution and Planet Desert Rock, as long as everything's copacetic, which 99% of the time is, I just support them forever after that. And they're kind of in my family. And that's why I do postings like Planet Desert Rock alumni. Now, some would say, well, that's to boost, your brand and your ego, whatever. I'm doing it, first of all, because it's a tag. So that sends them a flare for more people to see it on an algorithm. Exactly. But I also do it is it gives them something they've established as well.
Absolutely.
I would hope. Now, it's still not mentioned even that much in the media or press. Still, I'm about to put out a presser to a PR company that is working with one of my partners and or one of my sponsors, I should say. And I got to carefully craft this thing down, without going overly verbose, which I can do. So, yeah. and it's important that it gets out there to more people. And so I'm happy with where things have evolved this year, ticket sales wise, everything else. It's going pretty good. So just got to keep going.
What do you think? What do you think is the most important way, or what's the best way for you to get that word out, John? Is it through Facebook, or are there other avenues that maybe you haven't explored, or maybe
there are? There's only so many you can do, and only so much you can afford, and that's part of the problem. I invest in Facebook ads because I know how to do it. I built like fan bases on there that you can extract and market.
Absolutely.
I've access to all the bands except for one or two, where I can include them in the population audience. So you're marketing towards.
So the Watchers don't have a Facebook presence. Is that?
Yeah, they're on Facebook.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they just posted a pretty cool little video.
All right, cool. I will look. Sorry, the Watchers. My apologies. I will do a better search for you. I found some weird, like, British TV show. Or
that
something.
wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah,
there's a few of it, but yeah. The Watchers band. Type that in your Facebook thing,
cool.
It'll probably pop up.
Cool. So, was there another band that doesn't have a Facebook presence at your show?
Well, there's one band that can't figure out how to give permission to me. You have to get permission for me to have a role on the page, so then I can access the fans when I target. And then Luna Soul, God bless Dave. He's not that computer inclined. Obviously, he's lost somehow or another the ability of his own band page, and so he started out. Luna Soul is him. So say hello to Dave. But and Dave and I've been talking, and we just got to find time for him to sit at a computer, me to sit at a computer, like literally do the same thing. And just kind of.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a computer guy. This is hilarious. I'm even doing these kind of things. If you asked me myself 20 years ago, it's incredible. 10, 15 years ago, Yeah, I didn't have any computer abilities, but I'm on Facebook enough to know how to use it, some of the ins and outs of it.
No, you use it really well, man. I'm like, I'm impressed with your ability to use Facebook. It's all pretty new to me, and so I'm like still struggling to like make things work. So
Anytime you want to
I
chat
believe me,
offline,
I like model. I try to model your stuff as much as I can. So just doing a
anytime you want
great
to
job.
chat offline, just quick, a little talk. I'm more than happy to share
All right, cool.
what I'm finding, what I know, and all that stuff along the way.
Well, right on. Well, tell me about we brought up the Watchers briefly.
Yeah.
They're a Ripple band, man. Oh, well, you know what? Let's just use that as our segue into the Ripple connection. So you're having basically one of the nights is I believe Saturday is the Sunday,
No.
Friday.
There you go.
I nailed it on the first try. Yeah, Friday. Ripple Friday. Ripple Friday. Sorry, Ripple. I'm blaming the lead. But yeah, tell me how that came about and what inspired. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious, but like, what did Todd have something to do with that? Did you guys have some chat? Okay.
So, and I've had people kind of ask that question, and I'm like, that's how much I love Todd and I love Ripple, and I've been like, they're one of the reasons why I really got in the scene more. Was them. I found the label, I started backtracking into what their back catalog was, just like I did with Small Stone. And holy shit, like Small Stone is older than Ripple and has this whole other era of amazing stuff. And I own it from them, actually, as well as Green Desert Water, which is kicking off.
Cool.
3 is a band from there, and Black Elephant's a band from there. And Sundrifter played Planet Desert Rock before. I mean, it's Small Stone is a great, massive thing. So with Ripple, there were so many other bands that I kind of had in a target zone, like too many. Like there's bands I love the Ripple, but I couldn't put on this year. I wanted some year, but I couldn't put them on this year. And I shot early for these European bands. In Germ, I probably won't believe it till they walk into Count's Vamps.
Shit, those guys are good.
This is amazing. My dreams come true with Planet Desert Rock too. It's not just for me, by any means, but it's like if I know I'm getting that up for it, I know others are as well because Germ is like this hidden masterpiece. But we go back to the Ripple thing.
Yeah.
Germ was like, holy shit, I got to get him. And I asked Fireball Ministry early because I've established a little bit of relationship with Emily over the years. Me and her know each other through Black Savage. It was played a ton of shows all around the world now, and Vegas as well. I mean, I set him up with at least a couple shows. And so just knowing her, when I was able to get those two, and the Fire Down Below, which we had chatted a little bit about the year before, and they're like, I don't think we can do it. And then they're like, fuck it, we'll go for it. Let's do it. Right. And they're coming out for one day, you know what I mean? Or for one show, then see America after that song. And same with Germ, I think. And, Value of the Sun, it was a kind of a Ripple band. They did not this last album, but the one before on Ripple. Todd and Ryan met at Planet Desert Rock 1 on night 3. It's funny. At their bunkhouse.
Cool.
Small weird. So they've known each other since then. And then listen, Godzillionaire is another band I just got in my heart,
Okay, so have you been listening to the new album?
I've had it for a couple months now.
Yes. So, man, that fucking album was badass.
are pure masterpieces
but I only wrote down a couple bands that I wanted to talk about specifically, but they're one of them. So, how did you discover Godzillionaire? How did they come into your world, John?
A while ago. So, as Godzillionaire likes to give credit, they like to give me and Leanne Ridgway from Metal Media, who's been at this way longer than me. And I know Leanne some, and she's helped get my website up, and everything else. And I think we both liked Godzillionaire early on. And I didn't even really remember or know it when they kind of got back in the loop with me a while back. And even we're sniffing around about labels and stuff. And, what did I do? So I just directed him over to Ripple, and Todd and them got along great. Next thing you know, we scheduled it where their album comes out 15 days before Planet Desert Rock. And I think that's
Like,
awesome.
amazing.
For a band that really needs to be taken, elevate. That band needs to elevate.
Yes.
And they're just not. I mean, they have upside to me. And it's
Mhm.
Mark Hennessy from Paw, who has
Right.
a certain heartfelt, throaty ability in those songs. And he's been through a lot in his life this last number of years. So I'm inspired by him, and massively supportive of the band. I didn't know a lot of people who ever heard of them, honestly, when I would tell people about them. And it's cool now that there's more people know, and they're doing a pretty good job on social media as well. And that just happened. I mean,
freaking
it's
dig
like,
those
whoa,
guys.
cool. And so I had my 5. And Watchers was the last band we added. And I had Watchers booked for Planet Desert Rock 2, and his father passed away just a few days before that.
Oh, gee.
Tim, the lead singer Tim, he's had a rough go this last 5 years. He's literally lost his dad, his brother, and now his mother, all in like a span of time. 4 years. 4 years or 5 years. So I know the guys, 3 out of 4 of the guys from the Watchers. The drummer's been changed, so I don't know him yet. And Tim and Cornbread were just at Planet Desert Rock because they played for Spiral Arms.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I love that.
And Jeremy, the guitarist, is a shredder, and so way more metal than rock.
I'm okay
guitar.
with that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's the variety part of this.
That's cool, man. That's interesting.
Yeah, there'll be more heavy rock with some metal vibe to them, while Most Generator on the same day will be heavy rock, but way more on the rock side, blues based, and so on. That day, there's not really any 2 bands that have a similar sound. I mean, Sergeant Thunderhoof is. I mean, this newest album don't even. This one's really expansive and, a little, not as heavy, maybe.
But it's fucking amazing. This, like, okay, so we talked about Godzillionaire, and we talked about Lunasoul, we talked about the Watchers. I think they fit into that neatly as well. And then Sergeant Thunderhoof. Man, these bands are, all right, John, this is my take on these bands. These are adults making music for adults. These are bands that are making music for me. These are not bands that are trying to attract kids or take kids away from the EDM scene or the hip hop scene. These guys are rock and roll motherfuckers.
Away from that.
Yeah, I know they should, but there's no fucking hope for those people.
Yeah,
so I really, what I really like is the maturity and the songwriting. I like when I listen to Lunasoul or Godzillionaire. It's like, this shit would, like, if the world was right and there was still FM radio, album-oriented rock, this is what I would be fucking hearing. Like, I listened to Fireball Ministry the other day. This is what I would have been fucking hearing. And so I really like that these bands aren't trying to, like, fucking dumb it down for anybody, man. It, like, feels like they're making that music for me. What's your opinion on that?
I think that there's such a increasingly large pocket of good, hard, heavy rock. I call bands heavy rock. I don't call them stoner rock. Stoner rock falls underneath the heavy rock umbrella.
Yeah.
Heavy rock encapsulates, stoner metal to doom, to heavy psych, the stoner rock, the desert rock.
Right. I look at it the same way. Yeah.
Grunge-based rock. I mean, all that is under this. The umbrella just keeps getting bigger. And why it is because the mainstream's getting smaller. Like, there's less rock. So they've really formalized what they present to the public. The majority of the time, I say they, again, it's no fucking conspiracy. Follow the fucking money. There's 3 big labels that have like 90-something% of the radio hit. It's not even debatable anymore. It's 3 board of directors. So when you have less amount of stuff going in, that way, it's got to go somewhere. And our scene is a good one to foster that kind of stuff. And And I just think bands like Watchers should be on the radio. I mean,
Yeah.
you mentioned Moss Generator, many songs. With Lonely One, Kenobi, how is that not a worldwide known song? How cool that is.
Duel's another band that's just very radio accessible.
Some of the stuff, yeah. Pyro, great song. And I just think that, Fireball Ministry, actually, they were on a video game. And we spoke about this on the Doomed and Stone show, me and Billy Goat, the other day. And they were known a lot through that. And it was like millions of plays or something crazy. Millions. Speaking of millions, Sons of Arrakis, they just released their Spotify numbers. They got listed almost a million. And this is a band I work with from scratch. And I'm just so proud of these guys. I can't wait to give big hugs to Fred.
Wasn't it like 2.8 million? Like,
I think it was like almost 2 million.
Yeah, it was some incredibly high number. No, I'm so
This
stoked
is
about
fucking-
that.
It's Spotify, not Spotify, whatever. There's people know about them because of this. And it's just, it's exciting that we as a scene continue to put good songs. And I think that's really important. I think that you still have to have songs that will appeal to others and it doesn't mean it's trying to be mainstream, but maybe it means that it's good enough for what you used to remember mainstream being.
Yeah.
And I think of a band like Saturna, and they have songs that I play for other people, and they're like, that's a good rock song. Why don't I know it? I'm like, I know.
I know. Why don't you?
Sons. People still don't know Rival Sons, and they're like, And
yeah, man.
That's an easy one for me to play.
Oh, yeah.
People who like rock and roll already.
Yep.
The Watchers has been a go-to for me. I've played Today, which is on their EP, Sabbath Highway, and Starfire off the next album, Black Abyss. I played that for normies, and they're like, yeah.
So
because Tim knows how to sing and create, melodies.
Yeah, my song for normies right now is "Give Me Danger on My Stereo" by Cortez. It's like got a really catchy hook. You could sing along with the chorus. Like it's and it's still a heavy underground song.
I've had Cortez at Vegas Rock Revolution.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Flew over to open up for John Garcia one time.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, I'm like, you guys want to open up for John Garcia? I don't have a lot of money. The venue's the one paying for it, and they're like, just think about that. And next you know, they're on a plane. A couple weeks later, and I'll never forget them walking in from getting there with all their stuff, and John Garcia was doing a practice run basically. Like he was doing a sound check, but the reality was he fucking did almost the whole set. And the Cortez guys like talking, and then they looked up, they heard him. They all just stopped and they settled into the high tops. Like, we got to see Garcia basically twice that day. Once just 15 of us, and then next time with like 200. You know what I mean? And so I love the Cortez guys. Their first album, they got a song, Johnny something, and then another song, and that shit should be all over any rock radio. Like, listen, if I had a whole lot of money, I would do a test run or a FM radio station. I would look into how much does that even cost.
All right, but when I win the Powerball, I'm calling you, man. We're gonna do it.
It's because a lot of it's dominated and monopolized. So it's tricky. You got Clear Channel, and then I don't know, there's like that other one I keep forgetting. Something Love or something. Anyways. And so Cortez is another one of his bands. And I'm sure one day they'll be playing Planet X Rock, I would hope. Them and bands like Boozoo, are almost an automatic. I just got to fit it in.
They're so, I really love their album too. I really like, you talked about it there briefly, John. You talked about how we have this big label of the heavy underground or heavy rock and how it's incorporating so many different genres. And for me, that's it's been really exciting the last year, especially this year with, weird shit like Star Beast's album that I really like. But it's nice to, I love my heavy Black Sabbath riffs too. But, it's also, it's good to hear some more melodic things. I thought Cyclona's album was really cool. I thought that touched into some David Gilmour era, Pink Floyd kind of sound and
A little spacey,
stuff, and and
yeah.
like just like it's cool, man. I mean, and I think your show does a really good job of bringing that variety too, and I know that's important to you. Is there any band that you want to talk about that we haven't really hit on? I mean, I don't think we've talked about maybe Mr. Bison as much as
I was
we
just about
might.
to say, you want some variety, within what we're trying to deliver at Planet Desert Rock. And Mr. Bison, which is a return band for me, I brought them here for Planet Desert Rock 2. And people knew them, but they didn't know them like they do now with this new album. This new album really gets more into the heavy psych progressive side. So it kind of moves out of the stoner rock typicalness, which I didn't think they were that typical ever, but a little bit more leaning. And this is more in that elder space, King Buffalo, in that space a lot more. And they added a multi-instrumentalist, and I think that was a big part as well. They gave him some variety of sounds on recording, and I think he'll be at the show as well, where he's probably not going to be playing just one instrument.
Cool. So sweet. Yeah.
Their opening night.
Man, that opening night.
Arrakis, Unita, with Arthur and gang, and then Samaveo kicks it off. From Germany, been around 20 years.
Those guys. So the thing I like about your show. So this is the big thing I went through last year. I hadn't been to a festival before, and you announced like a couple bands I was super interested in. Black Elephant being one of those bands, man, then Space Flood. I was like, so I bought my tickets like 5 minutes after you announced Space Flood, and I was like, Andrea, she's like, yeah, just buy the tickets. All right, cool. But the cool thing was the bands I didn't know. And I was like, well, I'm not going to go to the show and not haven't not heard any of these bands. So I started doing the research, and I hadn't heard Bracho before, and now like those guys practically my favorite band. I love you guys. It was
guess what?
It was cool to hang out with those dudes at Ripplefest. They're great.
Guess what?
What's that?
Mario and Tim just bought tickets.
Oh,
yeah, they're coming and hanging out.
I'm so cool. Those guys are great.
They love the vibe.
Cool.
It's
So John, so it's an opportunity for me to hey man, I know I'm going to see these 15 bands. Let me get into these bands. Let me drop a few bucks on Bandcamp, and let me follow them on Spotify, and let me buy an album or two here and there. And so this year Sarajevo, is that how you say it? So we're going to go the German band,
but
Samaveo.
I don't.
But that band in particular, I was not familiar with.
Right.
And absolutely love them. Godzillionaire entered my radar, my little radar screen there when you announced them. And I think that's really the cool thing about your show, man. It's this is a great opportunity. So if you guys are watching this, and check out the Doomed and Stone show this week, the new episode. John also has song lists on Spotify. We're going to talk about the evil Spotify later. But it's a good opportunity to really get a chance to check out some new bands, and then if you're going to the show, to actually see them live. Just it's cool, man.
Sean,
I know that's part of your goal. So
yeah, I get hit up by some people regularly. I communicate with some people that come to my festival. I mean, I'm sociable. I love people that believe in the same thing, and they'll hit me up all right, so I'm checking out Germ today. And I'm like, oh, and I start laughing oh my God, that's going to be such an adventure. And they just fall in love, like holy shit. And I'm like, listen to this. You can listen to In Bloom, and you can listen to, Spirit Knife, and that's a totally different adventure. But you go the next time out to Spirit Knife, and that's all out. That even gets a little more in your face on some stuff. Some of the most catchy stuff, like The Cultist and Candlelight, are just epic heavy rock tunes with this soaring vocals. I cannot I pray he can sing pretty good live because it's amazing recording. It's like, I had somebody the other day hit me up about, not Germ, it was Samaveo. And I'm like, holy shit, this is good. I'm like,
I know.
Sons of Arrakis, someone the other day started digging out. I'm like, I mean, that's a band that should be on the radio. I mean, Omnis Messiah off the first album, that's what helped launch things for them. And I was involved with a video views ad for them that we ran for like a year plus straight. And people just loved it so much. Comments, their Bandcamp sales, their views at Spotify. I mean, they're at 70,000 views now. And, got on a playlist. I mean, that's what more and more of our best stuff needs to get to. Problem is, a lot of people think a lot of stuff is the best. And I'm not the authority, at all.
Right.
I'm just one guy that curates for 6, 7, 8 years, whatever.
I'll tell you what. Well, you know what, John? I'm going to use that as kind of a segue into the Doom charts. There's a bunch of people who vote on the Doom charts, and do you think that? I mean, I think it's a pretty effective way to present the best stuff that's available in heavy rock. I mean, I actually think it's pretty effective in putting the best albums in front of me. It was a rough month, man. I had so much trouble putting together my top 5.
Really?
And my whole list. Yeah, I did, man. And I'm pulling up my list here now because I want to talk about it. But do you want to talk about your list and we'll start it?
I want to hear yours. You got me intrigued now. You're like, I had a hard time.
All right, man. Let's just at 5. We'll just talk about them in order. So at 5, man, I had Sergeant Thunderhoof's new album, which could have easily been number 1, and I think will probably end up to be the number 1 album on the Doom charts this month. It's a little lower on my list just due to the weird formula that I use to make up my list, and a lot of my formula has to do with how much time I spend listening to the album.
I agree.
So
and I think this is more of a grower album at that.
Yeah. I totally think that. My first listen to it was like, whoa, that's definitely not what I was expecting. Right. But you know what, man? I have a feeling that in 5 years, that might be the album on this list that I'm still listening to.
Time will tell you that, and there's times when I've shunned an album or a band that I just wasn't into, and it was too much this, too much that, and then years later, I'm like, wow,
yeah,
that's good. Like today, I mixed in on my iPhone, which I use as a iPod of sorts, Yeah, and cool. I loaded in a few weeks ago some random albums I used to listen to 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. And I loaded in an album from Flying Eyes, which was a really cool heavy psych band out of Baltimore. Okay. And later on, kind of morphed into Black Lung. But Flying Eyes. And it's kind of like The Doors, but heavier.
Okay, I'll check it out.
But heavier, and it stays more in the psychedelic realm of The Doors versus not going into touch me, but none of that. You know what I mean? They're not singing about touching.
Oh yeah.
And it really heavy psych. I've said this for a while, and it's coming true. And so I'm like, yay, John. Heavy psych is the one with the highest upside growth. Just because the name itself is easier to market than Stone Rock, first off.
Yeah.
And it has its own wide variety. Psychedelic rock has a wide variety, and heavy psych has multiple sections of heavy psych that you really can look. I can draw a line pretty quick and go, yeah, that's kind of the heavy psych that comes from, the Pink Floyd Hawkwind side.
Yeah.
A little more. And and then you got the Hendrix kind of jammy fucking thing, a Hendrix kind of thing that Radio Moscow kind of has a little bit of that.
Yeah,
but has
Earthless
ones.
maybe.
What's that?
Earthless maybe.
Earthless then has both of those things going on, but it's not necessarily melodic. You know what I mean? It's more just the best guitars in the world. You know, I love Isaiah. I really contemplated
he's my
asking
favorite.
Hercules. I
I'll
contemplated
say it.
asking Hercules because I love him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry to interrupt your point, but yeah, John, the heavy psych thing is how I got here. You know, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't come through metal channels. I came through, you know, more hard rock, jazz, perhaps. Although I'm not a big jazz guy, I had a jazz phase though. But I appreciate guys who can play a lot of notes.
I love jazz. I studied 2 classes. I studied jazz for a couple classes in college. It was it helped my brain actually work through deciding what instrument is what. And the part of like the testing was knowing the era of the jazz they would play for you. Like, is that New Orleans jazz or you know what I mean? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned there. Sure.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sit around and listen to jazz. No. But and I'm not going to listen to blues either. But I'm going to listen to modern heavy psych and modern blues.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to drive a Ford. I much prefer a BMW. It's kind of the way I tell people.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Nothing against Ford. I mean, but they're the first car line, and so I'm not going to keep bringing them up. You know, while a lot of people like to bring up blues. The blues, and I love blues. I have an appreciation and respect for the beginnings of it.
Yep.
But once England got a hold of things, they can say it stole it, but they turned that shit up and put a march lamp and fucking, hit their ass with steroids and cocaine and go. It's a whole evolution. It's like, it's like when people bring up like Tesla, and I'm like, that shit is a whole lot different than driving a, Chevy pickup. I mean, Jesus. So that's where I look at the evolution of music, and I like to pay respect to our lineage, our family tree, which is blues-based rock, and then the psychedelic aspect. And our forefathers, therefore, are the real heavy rock forefathers. Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, bands like Blue Oyster Cult, Thin Lizzy, Hendrix, of course, and and it just kind of captures the more pure, but a little more unadulterated energy, we'll say at times, and then just kind of, the 80s for me is a little bit of a lost. I loved heavy metal in the 80s. So I discovered metal in the 80s. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It was like,
absolutely, man.
87, 88, 89 even. It was like, holy shit.
I know. I remember my cousin dragging me to a show in Anaheim to see Iron Maiden and the Scorpions in 1982. And it was like, exactly your face. Exactly.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was like, and then Loverboy and Foreigner closed the show. But like my brother and I
love those bands.
Me too. But it was weird. It was, but like Iron Maiden, like that changed my brother. I mean, that changed our lives. It was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? This is what I like. I mean, Foreigner was
like, world.
Yeah, totally, man. So
yeah, we have the metal. The building of our community. When you really look at where people are coming from, and it's the land of misfit toys at times, but it's a lot of there's metal, a whole massive amount of people that really love heavy metal. That also love stoner rock and doom, of course, and some heavy psych. And it takes them a while to assimilate into the really embracing that there's good bands. I
agree.
I know this one guy I met through. Hell, I might have met him through the Eddie Trunk group. You love that. I've got a few of them enlightened. Now they're making calls to Eddie Trunk, bringing up songs, bands. It's hilarious. I gotta do it. I gotta walk down and talk to Eddie. It's what I gotta do.
I can't.
But anyways,
we'll watch Sunil sing "Freak Out."
Right. Why are you doing that?
Kidding, Sunil.
Eddie Trunk, why not? He's help people. But they're. Oh, now I lose my train of thought.
All right.
Fuck.
All right, man. I'm gonna reel it back in. Sergeant Thunderhoof was my number 5 pick on the Doom charts. What was your number 5 pick, Joe?
I'm gonna go pull it up here.
All right, cool.
You're pressing the wrong button.
I gotta pull back. Yeah, so I know we went off on that tangent because like my picks are going to be all over the spectrum. So, John, your number 5 pick was?
My number 5 pick was Transylvania Stud with the album Impress.
Okay. I don't even think I got to that album this month, so I'm looking forward to it. Tell me about it.
Key does not do a massive job on like he doesn't send in codes to you know Doom charts or things like that he should probably, so then he would be, I don't know what they landed on yet. I guess we find out tomorrow, but
yep.
I just think everything they've ever put out, and it's really one guy, and he brings in some extra musicians, very 90s heavy rock oriented. That's the way I would describe it.
I'm looking for. I'll check it out for sure. Right on. Cool.
Yeah, like he's got roots in Soundgarden and Alice Chains, bands like that as well.
But if it's your 5, I'm checking it out. All right,
it's
100%.
It's great.
All right,
I wouldn't all their last album and their EP. You'll love it all. Great shit.
All right,
easy.
So here's So
this is the way you find out is on shows like this.
Exactly, right? All right, John, so do you want to go with number 4? Because my list is about to get weird.
No, it's your turn. I just gave you a band.
All right, man, it's my turn then. 10-ton beryllium ships is my number 4 pick. The name is crazy. I interviewed this band a couple weeks ago, and so I spent a lot of time listening to their album. And I will tell you that it's not what I'm normally into at all. The vocals are harsh and pretty fucking crazy, and not like the first time I listened to it, man, I was like, I don't know if I can listen to this album, but the music's really good. And then I got into the lyrics, and it's like a science fiction story, kind of similar to like what Clean did with Excursion. And so I think like I almost like listened to this album like I was watching a movie. It's very theatrical with the way that they use their vocals and how it interplays with their with the music itself. They come from a punk rock background, and they don't sound like it at all, in the best way. So it's worth checking out, but I will let people know that, like, I know John and I tend to come from a more traditional hard rock scene where, we listen to singers who were fucking like, sang songs. This is a lot different than that for me, but I fucking dig it, and I fucking listen to the hell out of it. So that was my number 4 pick. I really enjoy it. It's like one of the things about the Doom charts, and kind of what you were saying too, is that I've been exposed to these different subgenres. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, I really like the band Bong Ripper, which is something I probably would have not listened to 6 or 7 years ago.
Because the name.
The name doesn't hurt, John. The name doesn't hurt at all. But, yeah, man, like, they're fucking rough and crazy and noisy, and I fucking dig it. So anyway, that was my number 4 pick, 10-ton beryllium ships, or trillion-ton beryllium ships. I don't think I gave you enough tons. Sorry, I think I called you 10. Yeah. I meant trillion-ton beryllium ships. My apologies, y'all. Great album, though. I really dug it. So, John, what was your number 4 pick?
My number 4 was the band Familiars with the album Easy Does It. And we really go to a different spectrum from yours to this. I mean, really.
Definitely. Absolutely.
I mean, have you heard this new album?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and I really like it, and it's nothing like 10 trillion-ton beryllium ships at all.
I mean, it's kind of got a little bit of country influence, Americana influence in there.
Like garage rock thing kind of comes through there.
Yeah, but there's a certain, I don't know, the country kind of guitar on a number of parts is really, at first I'm like, what the fuck is that doing in there? And then I'm like, the second time around I'm like, okay, maybe that is pretty cool. That's awesome. I've been a fan of them from the beginning. They're from Canada. They're a heavy psych band, I would say, still. I think that this album, puts them together good with, what was that one elephant band? Lord Elephant? The other one that does like Americana stuff. Like, that would be a pretty cool and interesting lineup. Cool.
Yeah. We'll have somebody will know the name of it. Somebody help us out there.
something else.
Post it somewhere. All right, cool. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, so definitely we have our passive diverge.
What do you got next?
Man, well, so I think I really man, I've been listening to the shit out of this album, 10,000 Years album, All Quiet on the Final Frontier. Super heavy album, but not. I don't think it's a metal album. I think it's maybe heavy psych in that category too. I don't know. It's heavy.
It's heavy. Yeah.
It's fuck. I mean, but I was listening to a lot of trillion ton beryllium ships, so maybe it didn't seem as heavy as like. I mean, I just loved every song. You know, like it's one of those albums that I put on and I'd listen to it till it was done every fucking time I put it on. You know, I really like every song. I think they're well crafted. I love the guitar tones. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's just something about November and everything dying. But yeah, things got heavy for me this month, so that fit right into it.
Yeah, I've liked some of the stuff they've done in the past. It's a good Ripple music signing on the heavy side of Ripple, which they put out a number of releases every year that are like metal. Because this is, for me, they're kind of a metal, esque band. And so I actually have it on my phone. I just haven't given it to listen to because there's a million things to listen to.
Oh, so I totally understand. Right? I totally understand. Yeah.
So I'll be hearing that soon.
Yeah, man, I liked it. I thought. I mean, I really liked it. It spent a lot of time on my stereo.
Well, I continue to go in an opposite direction of you with the band Mount Hush, landing at number 3 with the album 2, which is basically their second album. So
tell me about that album.
Huh?
Tell me about that album. I'm not familiar with it.
They're a heavy psych band out of, I think it's Austria. I don't know if all of them live there in Austria, but it's in that region, I think in the Alps, where, you have like 3 countries around there. And they put out an album, I don't know, back in 2019, maybe 2020, that I kept in my phone for years. I mean, it just has certain songs that are just easy to listen to, have some of them catchiness to them. There's one song, it was in their native language, whatever that is. It was Swiss or Austrian. Austrian and German. I don't even.
It could be German.
Austrians speak German, or is their language Austrian?
German, and then I think some of those regions actually speak Italian as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's an Italian now.
Yeah, exactly.
French Alps too. So
look at us, 2 Americans knowing our geography. God damn it!
Damn it, I know a little bit. I'm not that. I even can find Slovenia on a map.
Fuck yeah!
I'll make a son. But yeah, it's. Mount Hush really is in that psychedelic zone, but it keeps rolling. They did a song in their native language, the previous album. It was like strange spelling even. I didn't even want to try to pronounce it, but the song is unbelievably good. Like it always gets me fired up. It has a certain airiness to it at the same time. And I think the new album, they do a great job. They're another band that's chronically not known as much as they should. But in the world of heavy psych, as it's gotten more expansive and more people are getting into, the King Buffaloes and Elders and, all the witches of the world, good bands like this are being able to shift in there to people's ear holes more, which is good. And I think they're very well deserving, as are the Familiars. And they sound completely different, but they're both heavy psych bands.
Right on, man. That's, one of the things I love about being on the Doom charts is the wildly different taste between the people who are voting on the charts, Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people from the outside just, like, look at that and think we all just listen to the fucking Sleep or whatever, and we all just listen, like, 4 bands or something, and it's so much not like that, and I'm gonna, like, show you guys why it's not like that, because my next pick is, like, fucking, I think, back to what I would consider more mainstream for our scene, if that makes any sense. But 1,000 Mods' new album, Cheat Death, is fucking kick-ass. I fucking dig it, man. I fucking dig that
mainstream, but all right.
I mean, for our scene, it's a known band. They've been around forever. Great Italian fucking band. And, with a reputation and also albums that, you know, people are pretty familiar with. And like this band's like always been kind of hard to nail down. And I honestly, I liked their last album, but I wasn't crazy about it. But man, I fucking dig this album, man. I really like this one. So I don't know.
They're actually one of the staples of the Greek rock scene.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
And get this, Sean, if you ever got time and you can find it, you just got to look around the internet a little bit. There's a movie documentary about the Greek heavy rock scene.
Okay.
Called Greek Rock Revolution.
I'm writing this down, John. Okay, cool.
It's amazing. It's got Thousand Mods, Planet Zeus, Puto Volcano, which is a band I've been trying to lift up for ages. Female vocals, my favorite female vocal band. I know that's not a genre, but you get the point.
No, that's cool, man. No, I'm down with that.
And it's amazing. Like this great heavy driving stuff, and she doesn't over sing. And that's what I appreciate. I do not like over singers. And a lot of genres, they believe in that, and it's like they're showing off. It grosses me out. Pop music,
Agreed.
R&B music, some of that stuff, it just grosses me out with the over singing. Just come on. But you know, also in there is Villagers of Ironina City is in that documentary.
Yeah, I've heard those guys before. Yeah, you've been posting stuff by those guys.
If you're gonna listen to Age Aquarius from front to back, without other stuff going on, headphones are a good stereo. Get high, but I probably don't need to tell you that. And
I will probably. Well, let me ask you this, John. Should I take a few mushrooms, maybe?
Why not?
Okay. I just want to get it right.
You'll want to do it later on, anyways. But this album it's the biggest masterpiece I've heard in 20 years.
Hell yeah! All right, cool, man. I'm on that shit.
Like Tubers on there, which is a Greek like instrumental stoner, and Noxotros is on there. So I mean, Greece is amazing stuff. And get this, Thousand Mods was my number 2.
Yeah, right on, dude. Yeah, right on.
I did not like their last album. I like last Sword albums. I'm like, fuck that. I got one of the Sword albums on my phone because I bought it like through iTunes or whatever. And I need to figure out how to get it off.
Yeah, okay.
Pops up on random all the time.
I did not. I honestly, like, I hate to be negative about any bands on the scene, but I really didn't care for that. I you know, and to your point about the over singing, there's, man, I fucking can't do it. You know, like there was a release earlier and this year, I don't even want to say who it was because I don't want to drag them into that. But you know, man, yeah, it's a big thing for me. One of the things that I love about this genre of music is how the vocals are mixed into songs like they're another instrument and they don't have that overwhelming ride on the top. You know, they're part of the song, not like the whole song that the rest of the band's just there as some kind of vehicle for it. So yeah, I agree on that. That's cool, man. Same number 2 album.
I'm a big fan of the album too. I think it's good. Great. I think it's got lots of heavy rock variety to it. Some people were canning it, and I'm like, I just don't see what the problem is.
I didn't either.
The other album, it was obvious how poppy they tried to do a poppy Seattle thing, but it was just like this. I mean, they bring out the riffs.
So I think I even know probably what thread you're referring to when you're talking about that. But I saw that early, and so I hadn't heard the album, and so I was like, well, shit, I got to go put this song on. And as soon as I did, I was like, my reaction was like your reaction. Like, what are people talking about? This just fucking
it was almost my number 1, quite frankly. So
it was very close to mine too. But my number 1 is fucking way weird and off the wall. So
that's you.
Yeah, no, sorry everybody. Sorry everybody. I'm sorry to everybody except Momo Voodoo, who got my number 1 vote.
Oh,
I
love that album,
dude. I can't get it. I can't stop listening to it.
That's crazy.
I absolutely love these guys. I haven't really spoken to them or anything. We've had like a minor interaction on Facebook. So I forget who turned me on to their album. I think it was Jacob Baker or Clean and Sober Stoner. I think they talked about it, and so I slapped it on. And fuck, man, sometimes you listen to stuff like that, and you're like, like, am I just in a really good mood or something? Let me listen to it tomorrow and see if I still really like that as much as I think I like it. And then it was
Yeah.
like, man, the third day I'm just putting it on because I already know I really fucking like it. And then, you know, they did a
Yeah.
great job. There's a really great movement going on in the Midwest right now with the Midwest Doom Coalition. The bands are really trying to pull together and help each other out. And there's some great bands from like Kansas City and Nebraska.
Yeah. That's where they're from, is Kansas City, I believe.
Yeah,
And they did a
exactly.
show. Why I know them, other than I think I saw the promo, but I think I originally saw the name, was they played a show with Godzillionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was like,
how I think that's kind of that through that Godzillionaire channel is
yeah.
how I discovered that band.
Yeah. But yeah, they're good. So they're in my top. Yeah, they're in my top. Sorry, I gotta get the glasses. Hell, they're in my top 10.
Yeah, right
So
on. Well, cool, man. Thank you. That's validating for me just to hear you sound like, am I crazy? Because I think
no
these guys
way.
are fucking amazing, and
Good.
I really
Good.
enjoyed the album. So, yeah, Momo Voodoo, shout out to you guys, man. You guys, great job, man. I looking forward to more stuff from you guys, and hopefully catching you guys live. Well, John, what's your number one album, man?
Number one album is Sergeant Thunderhoof with a ghost.
Well deserved vote.
Ghost of Baden Hill. Baden Hill.
Yeah,
Which,
tell me
according to
your
Billy Goat,
impressions.
that's an historical reference. Yeah, of sorts. The whole Baden Hill or Baden Hill. So,
Do you know what the
but
reference?
yeah, I mean, I think they're one of the hottest bands right now.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the hottest bands right now. I think a lot of people have gotten into them over the years, and I looked at them as one of the most underrated. But I think they do a great job on social media, and they do a great job with creating good music. And
They sure
I think
do.
this album, they probably focus a little bit more on, I don't call it songwriting, because I think their songwriting's always been good, but maybe not as much heaviness to it to some degree. Dan can just really sing. It has a great range and has a beautiful vocal style when he needs to go up high. He knows how to create a melody even with it. So, I adored their last album. I mean, it's next level for me. But this one, it's a grower and it's good. I actually need to record it onto a CD and play it in my car soon. That's a whole nother experience in itself.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, I've been listening to it a lot. It really, to me, shows the fantastic range of this genre of music, this heavy rock music that we like. It shows like super mature songwriting ability. The vocalization is amazing and still mixed right for the genre. The complexity of the ideas mixed with the music. It's just, like, it's really, like I said earlier when we talked about it when it was on my list at 5, it's probably, I think this might be the album that I'm listening to 5 years down the road, maybe more than the other albums on my list. It's like you said, it's a grower. I think the more I listen to it, the more I love it. And I'm like, it's a little softer, it's a little, I don't know. I hate to use the term adult because we're all old, but it's a very, very sophisticated adult feel to the album while retaining.
They have a little bit of almost a heavy alternative rock.
Yeah.
On some of the songs on this album as well, and there's no shame in that. Many of us that are Gen Xers, which probably is the meat and potatoes of our scene, we were born and raised with some great, alternative rock. I mean, we created the alternative rock world.
Right. Right.
It all happened underneath us being 18 and in our late 20s. Yeah. And so, or younger in some cases, because some of y'all are younger than me. And it's just neat to see the journey. I'm honored. They're probably the most talked about band that I have coming for Planet Earth Rock.
So excited, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
They got people coming from England with them.
Dude, your lineup it's just insane. Like, every day I just get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I can't wait for late January, bud. Well, man, so you guys,
don't sleep. Here's a band if you haven't given a full listen to. Don't sleep on Green Desert Water.
So they've just started entering
They're the upbeat, heavy side.
Fucking good, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Andrea had some playlist on the other day, and I was like, "What are you listening to?" And that's what we were listening to. It was like,
yeah. And it's kind of girls. I've seen they played Planet Desert Rock 2, and they also played this pre-Stone to Dust festival that me and Arthur C. from UNITA did, and they just electrified everyone. Like their music, just bam, and the singers, Wild Animal, he's got like a little mustache and big fucking hair, and they're the nicest guys. They asked me, "Can we come back?" And I'm like, "I got you on the list, so yeah, let's do it." Because I'm loyal to bands that have been with me for that long. You know what I mean? There's bands that play Planet Desert Rock 2 that are very likely to enter the orbit again for Planet Desert Rock 6, we'll say. I already got a couple bands lined up.
Wait.
I'm loyal to the bands and because of how good they are. So getting them back, I really wanted Saturna and things didn't work out. And I'm just going to be like, hey, let's get planning early so you have a trip worth it. Because it's tricky. If you're not, everything's a gamble for all of us. And sometimes you just do things just because it's a great experience. You just do it. You know?
Well, man,
thanks for all your support, dude.
Dude, you know what? The coolest thing is like, it's so easy because it's just like, I love the scene and I love the music, and like going to your show last year, like I can't tell you people enough, like you people, I can't tell you people enough, but I can't, if you guys are watching this, I can't, and you haven't been to Planet Desert Rock or you haven't been to a Ripple Fest, it like changes everything for you, man. The access to the bands and like you actually like are talking to people who listen to the same weird music that you like, because it's like hard for us to find other people who really know these bands, And so, John, I just fucking love your show. I can't wait to come out to this one. And like, man, I don't know if I can make it to Ripple Fest next year, but like your show is like just an automatic call for me, man.
That's awesome,
that's
man.
The one, bud. And
we got quite the crew coming too.
It's going to be a great crowd of people,
we're talking like Todd Severin and Pope from Ripple will be there. From what I understand, most of it. I doubt Todd makes every single bit of it, but I think he's coming in at least 2 or 3.
I'm super hoping to meet. I missed Todd at Ripple Fest.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I'm
just got to sit in line now.
We were we had a brief exchange of messages right before this, and he's always been really accessible and super awesome to me, and I really appreciate that guy. And he's also much like you are, John, and Ryan Gurney. Like, but sometimes I can barely, I go to my job and I come home and I go to bed and then I get up and I'm like, well, let's see what those guys did today. Oh, he wrote a book. That guy's putting on a show. This guy's he's put on a show and he's doing it. And you guys all work so hard for the scene. And I really appreciate that about you guys.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of Ryan Garney, he'll be coming as well. Him and his brother, Planet Desert Rock. He performed at the third one I did just a couple years back, and I let me and Ryan go. Our brothers, we support each other's festivals, and I told him again, I'm like, dude, you're free, so come on out.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to see what the wife thinks, and next thing you know, it's him and his brother. I'm like, all right, cool. He'll be there. You got Scott Spires will be there.
Finally going to meet Scott. I'm super excited about that.
Scott Hamilton from Small Stone will be there as well.
Oh, fantastic!
He went to number 2. He'll be an interesting guy to meet. I mean, literally been doing this since the 90s or something. So
right on. Well, I love that label, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, and a number of other, quite a few other people, along the way. The usual cast and crew that you saw this year.
Heck yeah, man. And then all the great, people that I met last year, like Andy and Debbie and, Scott people. And all you guys know who I'm talking about out there. And if I'm not mentioning your name, I still love you, but I just can't think of it.
It's hard to remember everyone.
But Phil, I'm thinking about you right now. All right, just kidding. Yeah,
it's going to be a party. It
is going to be a party, and people and man, I could just gush on and on about it, and I probably will until January. But let me just ask you about this, man. So a local band here in Denver, Coburnoid. I talked to those guys a few months ago, and then I knew a PR guy and got him in touch with those guys, and things have gone fucking great for those guys, and I'm super excited. They've made a fucking great album, and they're getting the attention that they fucking deserve. And then I met this other great band out at your show last year that I just fell in love with immediately, Sonolith. Like, after I saw Sonolith, I like got on Bandcamp and bought all their shit, like all their albums. It was like, cool. I fucking love these guys. And so they just played a show together out in Vegas, and you were there. And so I just want your impressions of how that show was, because those bands are really important to me. And I just, I mean, people should know about them.
It was a Saturday night at Dive Bar, and it was actually, for that promoter, Brian Moy, he said it was his best attendance of heavier shows in the last, year or whatever. So
fuck yeah,
that was good to hear that. Alex Sonolith, from Sonolith, he personally, along with Sage and Ben and Ian, really pushed it out there, ran ads.
They did a great job.
Followed up with their friends, all the things you got to do. And like Alex told me, he's like, it was awesome, but literally I thought there were like 30 other people coming. And I'm like, I know, man. I know that feeling. I know. So
sure.
It was great energy.
Cool.
Coburnoid, I got to hang out and chat a little bit with them.
They're good dudes.
The singer, if you're a vocalist, we'll call him that. He was doing something else, and I was talking to one of the other guys, and they told me like how long they drove. I'm like, God, you're supposed to. That's long. He's like, yeah, that crazy motherfucker drove the whole time. They pointed to the vocalist. I'm like, the little guy. He's like,
man, he's great. Dude.
Oh my God, and dude,
they bring really so.
I love that riffing energy they got. I'm a vocals guy, so that's different for me. But for some reason, that works for me. There's certain bands like that the riff just takes over regardless. And I like it. Like Carcass, when I saw them at Planet Desert, when at Psycho Vegas, I was like, whoa! It was just too cool a riffage for me to ignore. And I thought Coburnoid did great. People loved them.
Right on.
And Sonolith, got out there and had a great set, and even brought in the singer from the band Demon Lung, who Sage was in that band or is in that band, whatever.
Yeah.
And she came in and did a song or two towards the end, and I thought that was a really cool, neat touch. I've hassled those guys forever to get a fucking singer, but that's just me.
No, John, we talked about it when I interviewed those guys a couple months ago. That came up. And I think they're embracing that. And I think we'll see some more vocal. I think on their next album, we might see a vocalist and stuff. And I think, man, I think it's just going to add to their band. I mean, those guys are great instrumental band. But if you can like tastefully add some lyrics to that, it's just gonna add an extra layer of depth.
I think Alex would prefer like High on Fire kind of vocals even. So who knows? Those guys, they got their own vision of things. It's not for any of us to interfere with or.
Right.
I mean, we can get feedback though, but.
Yeah, we can hope for things.
It really doesn't matter. But yeah, I thought it was a great show. Good turnout. Hung out with some peeps there as well. And yeah.
God, I wanted to be there so bad. And it just like between work and just some other shit I had going on, I couldn't make it. So I'm glad you were there, man. He's that dude. Yeah, he's so funny.
I met him after being Facebook friends for who knows how many years.
He's a great guy. He's a very funny guy. All right, man. Well, let's like finish up with like the latest controversy in the scene. That's not the latest controversy. It's an ongoing controversy, and I don't even know if it should be controversial. In my opinion, it probably shouldn't be. But People's Spotify year-end list came out this week, and people are posting Spotify and their Spotify lists, and I didn't post mine because God, mine is completely reggae. I don't listen to the heavy underground on Spotify.
Right, it's about sexy time. So that's interesting. In the mood, huh?
Dude, there's something about the rhythm. I don't know. Right. But anyway, But man, like immediately the backlash against Spotify begins, and understandable, these guys are not sharing their wealth with musicians, and I think that's what creates the initial backlash.
Right.
However, man, John, you and I have had this conversation before, and like my opinion is that Spotify maybe should be embraced by musicians as a marketing tool, not as a revenue generator. I think bands are looking at Spotify in the wrong way. So I'm going to let you go with this, bud. You're the business guy. You have a better sense of this than I do. So let me know what your opinion is on this.
I think you hit quite a bit of the nail on the head. There was never money for anyone to begin with. So I don't know why we're talking about like people losing money. There was never money for small musicians ever in the history of our, yeah, I mean, so like, how would anyone know about you? If you're a small artist, even now, even back in the day, you still had things you had to go through for anyone to know you. Now you could play local circuit and you could, create CDs and vinyl, and that's how people make money. But streaming, they're lucky that they got streaming. That's what they got to start realizing. But everyone's stuck in there's a virtue signal, like a psychological aspect that really makes people want to rise up against it. And I get the concept behind it, but quite frankly, it's my dream come true. So I had a vision of that 20 years ago. And I even heard an interview once with Bill Gates, which, he's complete fucking psycho. But at the time, he was walking in his house, and he told a story. He was walking in his house, and he was like, play Paul Simon, blah, blah, blah. And boom, it was on. I mean, that was years ago. And I'm like, that's the fucking future.
Right.
Where you can just ask for something and get it musically. And I know that there's bottom line is consumers are the most important aspect of this, but you want the musicians, obviously to thrive, the real musicians, the ones that, this is all they do for a living. Because if you're doing just this for a living, you're taking a lot more chances than someone who works a regular job and puts an album out every couple of years. I mean, there's like real work involved with maximizing the ability for an audience to hear you, because there is a lot of stuff out there. And people are like, there's so much in stoner rock. I'm like, time out. There is a lot in stoner rock, but we have a small audience. We need to start grabbing, and I'm going to be a little more aggressive here. People like, everyone listens to everything. Okay, well, that's fucking us over, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, you can only listen to so many things. So if I'm listening to rap one day, the next day I'm doing some sexy love and R&B, and then I'm going to listen to old heavy metal from the 80s.
Yeah.
When is there time for any kind of growth of our stuff? And people, if they really look at the accountability of that and within each of us, what we can do to make it better, it is going to be more time spent on it and more money eventually, and an ability of more people to widen it up. But they're not going to know about it without Spotify. I mean, there are bands that come out every time this happens. Goes, we got to be thankful because we have so many more people that know about us now because of Spotify. I mean, you're on playlists, you can recognize the thing pops up.
Literally seen bands today post how much they hate Spotify and how they don't like it at all. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't know who the fuck you were without Spotify. I would never have fucking heard of your band.
Andy says the same thing. Andy's a staunch pro Spotify person. And I don't want to call him pro Spotify.
I don't think any of us. Yeah.
But I'm not going to back away. Let me just go with this. So,
no, me
Andy's the same way in that we go and support and spend money, and put music out there for bands all over the place that we find out about or support or hear on Spotify. Spotify is an unbelievably easy utility to use. Of course, you buy it; you don't get the free one, and they've raised the price up 3 times in the last.
I pay $15 a month for like my whole household. Come on, man, it's 50 cents a fucking day. It's so cheap.
It's ridiculously low. And we're actually asking her, probably in the end, the more we want bands to get paid, the more it's going to cost us. Which to some degree, they have some room to grow for some of us, because it's just so easy to just Click, 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 click. Boom, there it is. Now people say you can do it on YouTube, but I hope everyone understands like YouTube doesn't pay anything either. So
right. Not only that, and YouTube is a fucking pain in the ass to look for new music on.
yeah,
It's
totally.
and like I'll try. I jokingly trashed Apple in a post this morning, but I haven't used an Apple product for a long time, so I don't know if it's good or bad or how it works or
Yeah,
like. And if it works for you, that's fantastic.
I have a phone.
Yeah, man, and like like I agree with you, John. I generally find bands on Spotify, or if I can't find their music on Bandcamp, then I go to Spotify to go listen to their album. And if I really like it, I go see them, and then I buy their shit,
You
and then I buy
follow
their
them.
album.
You like their stuff. Like literally,
Yeah,
people
post
listen.
about them.
If you want to help the bands you like, when you see a posting from your band or about the bands you like it. Because what that does, that wakes the algorithm up more, and so more people see it. That may actually discover the band you already like and help them get more
Exactly.
fans. More fans equal potentially more revenue, and so
For sure.
again,
For sure.
not listening to Spotify, but people buy. Like Andy has told me over and over, I buy albums after
Yeah,
I hear it on Spotify. Like people are
exactly.
trying to say it's like monolithic, one side only, and it's every time people stereotype too much something, it's always wrong. It's lazy.
Yeah,
It's pathetic,
for sure.
and there is some details within all these things.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I agree, John.
it's not going away. Yeah, the guy makes an insane amount of money. I got to give him props for coming up and delivering this. I don't
Because
think
it's
people
good
realize how
and it
hard it
works.
is.
It's good. It
I
works.
don't think people realize how hard it is to do what Daniel Elk, whatever, is. It's
Yeah.
like all these critics, they haven't done even a fraction of what he was able to accomplish. And it takes so many moving parts, so many people, which he laid off a third of them recently, and profits are up. So, welcome to automation.
Right.
And it's all the different parts, things can go wrong. And all this agreements with the record labels, the bands, and the signing off, and this and that. It's a lot of work.
It's impressive.
And hey, but he sold a bunch of stock, and I mean, he's got more money he's ever going to be able to use.
Yeah.
Generate. It's amazing. So good for him. But there may be a point where you start really thinking like, is there a way to measure things out a little bit better? But they just recently did the change where that if you don't even have 1,000 listens, you're not even get paid anything.
Well,
which means you're not getting the 3 cents.
Well, and honestly, like I'm not a business major or anything, but like when I start thinking about how they're going to divide that money, the only people who ever benefit from my calculations are people like Taylor Swift, who already already have so much money. That's like
Beyonce,
it doesn't help.
Jay-Z.
Like you said, John, the little guys never got any money. There's never been the difference today between the difference back in the 80s is if you didn't have any way for me to hear your music if you weren't on tour, lucky enough to get on a tour with somebody, because you weren't getting on the fucking radio. And if you weren't on the tours, yeah, and if you were lucky, but like I'm talking about the smaller bands that would probably, like they didn't so smaller bands have a chance in this fucking atmosphere, like because of the things like you said, only one guy has to like the album, and if it's a guy like you and you repost that, a guy like me is going to listen to it, and then if I like it, I'm going to put that thumbs up there, and maybe a guy like Andy's going to be like, fucking Sean likes that. Maybe I'll check that shit out.
And
that
it's a chain effect.
And that did not exist in the 80s. There was no ability to do that. So if anything, man, Spotify should be a godsend to these small bands, in my opinion, compared to never being fucking heard, which happens probably to a lot of bands.
You have to do things on Spotify itself. You have to do things on Facebook, Instagram, X, I mean, some are like, migrating away, whatever.
What's the other one?
Your
There's a new
target
one.
market probably still there, but okay.
Yeah.
And you literally have to work each of those. And I have a hard time keeping up with it. I don't have a good Twitter game or anything like that, but I do post occasionally. I'm trying to post there some just so I can get a couple engagement along the way. But Spotify, like some bands don't even have their little story. Like
I know it just
your band.
I know it just seems like it's. I see a lot of bands. So I do some work with the Midwest Doom Coalition, and I had a band who stated on a chat, we don't want to fucking have a Facebook page because we're from Canada and your group's not going to help us anyway. And it's like so fucking short-sighted. It's like make a Facebook. It's a terrible. And it's like the attitude that will never grow your band. And so man, I shout out to the Midwest Doom Coalition. By the way, you guys are doing a great job promoting and using social media and using it in a positive way. It's fucking awesome.
It's Shane and all those guys.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, man.
Yeah, it's great. I've known Shane and them for quite a while. Shane's in another band, something to do with the moon.
Oh, dude, we're watching you from the moon, they watch us from the moon. They're fucking really good too. I really like that.
So you try to support the good guys along the way, and I think what's really needed is more people just gotta stay committed to the right avenues to find you the right music. And it took me, it was overwhelming at the beginning when I really got into looking where to go. Sure. And Doomed and Stone helped me out. Doom Charts actually really helped me out. Discovering Ripple and Small Stone, I just went down the rabbit hole. And then next, I know Todd, and everything else. And Bucky Brown, discovered him, when I started getting in the groups, and I think Bucky's taste is exceptional. And so to this day, he's not on Facebook anymore, but he turned many of us into real good music. He turned me into Familiars, I think. Yeah. There's one. You got to give credit to people. And JJ is another one. And JJ will be at Planet Desert Rock. JJ. Love it. Goatson.
Who's that Jimmy Jam guy? He's awesome, man. That dude, there's, man. There's that meme, people who show you new music are important, and it's true. And I appreciate all the people watching this that have turned me on to new bands. I appreciate you, John. You're a huge part of that for me. Hey, bud, really quick, can we check out that shirt behind you, bud?
Well, this is... Wow. All right, I already got that locked in here. This is from 2018.
Oh, yeah, that's badass.
Yeah, really cool design.
Oh, cool, man. And you're going to do shirts this year, right, bud?
Yep. Oh, there's the roster.
Oh, my God, look at that lineup. Wofat, Sasquatch, John Garcia, Freedom Hawk, Valley of the Sun. Oh, my God, dude. It's always been badass, and it's just going to continue to be more and more badass. Lunasoul, fuck yeah, that's. Look at the back of John's shirt right there. Lunasoul getting some Denver fucking rock.
And then this is from, I think it was the next one.
Oh, I love that shirt too, dude. I love the new designs for this year, man.
And then here we are with the
oh my God, fuck yeah, hell yeah.
Look at all the international bands on there. 8 of them.
When I wear the Space Slug shirt, I inevitably get comments from people. What is that? What was that? Where was that show? Yeah, it's cool, man.
Cool.
And the new shirts for this year, bud, are I love the Alien Spaceman. That's
a lot of people like that Alien one, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So
yeah. And we have one more. We have 3 of the posters done for the individual nights. We got Saturday night still to come. I said something to Joey Riddell. He's the artist that did the first shirt and did all the posters for the first 2 years. And then last year, I said to him, hey, I got a concept. Let me know what you think. I go, how about last call? So, it's final drinks. So make it rockers and aliens together.
So good.
Because I gave him a little bit of that space potential theme on some stuff, And he's like, I love it. I want to do it anyways. Cool. So yeah, and he gives me this thing, and it's like the colors I love is like that bright blue and black
So
mesh.
good, man.
And
I will be wearing that.
I'm gonna be buying it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna probably print some shirts for this one that we just finished this year.
Yeah.
And then I'll have shirts for next year as well.
Yeah, that would be cool,
I'm
man.
not gonna
Then
do
you
a
got to
ton of print.
Yeah, I need to buy another shirt from last year. There's one that I don't have yet that I probably need to pick up. So,
You can order it online,
but
or
yeah,
or I'll
cool.
have something there.
You guys know that too. Those posters, by the way, are up on my wall. And so I need the new posters to balance my wall. I'm excited about that. Man, you guys, everything about Planet Desert Rock Weekend is fucking badass. John's a great, John, I'm going to wrap this up. John, you are amazing for coming on here. Thank you, bud. I really appreciate your time. I always learn a lot from you whenever we talk, man. Not just about music, but the business of the music. And I think, it's important for us, as fans to, have a realistic view of what's going on in the business of our music, and not just, hope for miracles and weird things that are probably never going to happen. And let's we have a cool little scene. And I think, let's embrace that and love it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, a band that me and Bucky and other people were early on into, and you said it just takes one person to like it. A lot of us were into Elder early on, and it took Tool liking them to take them on a tour playing in front of thousands and thousands of people.
Amazing.
So, we've seen that in our own scene result, from organic to this. And so we know it can happen. And, what matters most is the people. So, I do not do Planet Desert Rock unless I have the support of you and others urging me to do it. That's the only reason why I did. Like, I literally was like, I'm only going to do it if people are going to buy tickets right away, like a certain amount, so that I know that, I'm not going through all this work. And, I released 5 bands that first time, and I immediately had a bunch of sales from guys that told me the same they would. And, I said, hey, maybe I'll do a 4th night because I'd get some more bands involved. And people stepped up. I mean, I think we're at 70 pre-sale on that already,
nice.
And I'm pretty happy if I just had a little over double that.
Well,
so I'd love to have most of these shows. I bet this year every show will have at least 200 people there, and maybe 250. So the final night probably a little bit less, because not everyone can handle 4 days in a row. But
well, man, we're coming out for all 4 nights, man. We are looking forward to getting out of the freezing cold of Denver for a few days, even if the weather's
cold here too, but we'll see.
But even if it's in the 40s, we'll take it over the fucking shit here. Man, once again, John, I appreciate, you've always been very supportive of me, and I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the access, buddy. I really appreciate it. It was great getting to hang out at Ripple Fest, and I love our conversations that we have, and I hope we have a couple. If we don't have another one before your show, I hope we have a chance to, but if we don't, I will definitely see you in Vegas, my man.
We'll do it.
Yeah, well, we should do it. We should do it at least a week or two before. You guys, if you're on the fence about going to the show, fucking get off the fence and go to the show, because you're going to fucking dig it. I mean, you guys heard about the great times people had at Ripple Fest and John's show last year. We're not making it up. It's a fucking great time. Come out and see some great bands, meet some cool people. You get to meet the bands. You get to see some cool venues, man. And you'll be in Vegas, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Vegas, baby.
Man, John, did you have anything?
Marijuana is legal.
Weed is legal? What? Dude, I'm gonna try out weed when I come up there.
You smoke a vape weed bin in Walmart, and no one's gonna know or complain. I mean, and that's it. Just keep walking. It's crazy.
God, that makes me so happy. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
It's
going to be a great time. I look forward to seeing you and everyone else. The tickets are on sale at Eventbrite. Look up Vegas Rock Revolution or Planet Desert Rock Weekend.
Right on. Hey, John, thank you very much, buddy. I'm going to let you go, man. I'll talk to you soon, bud. Thanks again for your time. Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in to the Heavy Underground Farm Report. All right, John, take it easy, bud, man.
All right.
All right, bud. I stopped recording.
Cool.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Right on.
Yeah!